Age of Calamity will flop. But before you go into the comments to disagree with me, just watch this one clip, but pay special attention to this guy. You might be thinking, what's so bad about a metal Mike Wazowski? Well, that's what this video is about, so buckle up and grab some popcorn, cause we're about to get real down and dirty. But before we get into the nitty gritty of our little friend here, let's quickly recap the events of Breath of the Wild. Because as we all know, us gamers have the attention span the size of a raisin. No? Just me? Oh, okay. So Breath of the Wild starts off with Naked Link waking up from a 100-year-long nap, and immediately gets tasked with saving Princess Zelda in Hyrule Castle. As it turns out, she's been throwing hands with Ganon for the past century, while Link was just chilling in the nude. Also, he's lost all his memories. Yeah! Now Link has to sprint all over Hyrule, trying to reclaim the divine beasts that apparently have the power to Kamehameha laser Ganon from anywhere on the map. After Link finishes aiming the divine beasts and regaining his memories, it's off to Hyrule Castle to save Zelda. Or more like Zelda saves him. And that's basically the summary of Breath of the Wild. Now we arrive at Age of Calamity, and of course, my man Metal Mike. But before we get into all that, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Done? Alright, now we can continue with the quality video you guys are all dying to finish. But what's the problem with the egg? Well, let's go back and analyze the cutscene we saw in the beginning of the demo. We see that the battle between Calamity Ganon and the heroes of Hyrule is nearing its end, and Zelda is making her final stand to put Ganon in his Ziploc bag until Link wakes up. But right when Zelda is ready to wrap things up, our little hero travels back in time to the beginning of the war. Now that's all fine and dandy, but keep in mind that we haven't seen the egg at all before Age of Calamity. This means that when little baby man hopped through the convenient time portal, he most likely entered an entirely new timeline. This part gets a little confusing, so let me draw it out for you. So this is the original Breath of the Wild timeline. In this timeline, the events in Age of Calamity lead up to the events in Breath of the Wild, and eventually, the unnamed Breath of the Wild 2. However, because the egg is completely AFK during Breath of the Wild, we can assume that 1. Either the egg gets cracked trying to save the world and dies before Breath of the Wild, or 2. He entered a new timeline. And if the latter is the case, then we've got a huge problem on our hands. Why? Because if that's true, then everything that we're going to accomplish in Age of Calamity won't matter. Our little friend here will go on to save Hyrule in this new timeline, and there'll be a happy ending where everyone lives and no one has to die. But what's the point in that? We've already gone through the struggles of the base game, and although we came out victorious, Age of Calamity would give those struggles even more weight. If this alternate timeline theory proves true, then the events in Age of Calamity won't lead up to the events in Breath of the Wild, and we'll just be playing a non-canon spin-off. And nobody wants that. So how can Age of Calamity be saved? Easy. Don't split the timelines. The Zelda series has a long-running problem with alternate timelines and overcomplicating things when they don't need to. I'm looking at you, Ocarina of Time. By making it so that the timeline we play through in Age of Calamity ends up as the same one we play through in Breath of the Wild, the prequel will be a game that actually matters in the grand scheme of things. Although it would be difficult because the time travel stuff is already confirmed, there is a way to save the story. Instead of branching off into a different timeline, our little friend here would have to die during Age of Calamity. Okay, he doesn't have to die per se, but he at least needs to go into hiding during the events in Breath of the Wild. The egg needs to fail in stopping the calamity so that the timeline runs its course. That way, if we were to go back in time again, like we do when we first play Age of Calamity, it would be a full loop into Breath of the Wild and not a timeline split. Okay, if we were just to ignore the story and focus on the gameplay, I'm sure this game is going to be great. The combat seems fun, although all Warriors games tend to get repetitive after a while, and beating on waves of defenseless bokoblins feels amazing after hours of getting stomped on in Master Mode. We'll still have our favorite characters, albeit from a timeline we don't care about. And if Fire Emblem Fates taught us anything, it's that absolutely horrible stories can still have great music. All jokes aside, that map theme is a straight banger. But if we do end up with an alternate timeline spin-off story, nothing will be able to save this game. No amount of amazing tracks or breathtaking visuals could pull this game out of the garbage dump. Age of Calamity won't just flop, it'll miss the pool entirely. For now though, there's not much we can do except pray that Nintendo knows what they're doing. But even if Age of Calamity is a failure, there's no way that they could screw up Breath of the Wild 2, right? Oh god. Huge thank you to everyone who watched this video, and make sure to let me know how you guys think Age of Calamity will turn out. I'll be reading and replying to each one of your comments, so don't be afraid to share your thoughts. Thanks again for watching, and please like this video if you want to see more content like this.